Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video I'm going to go through a recent commission. It is a Blue Phoenix commission and it was kind of sold as a pair for Ferrum the Ironwood's Phoenix, so it had a little companion and wasn't just alone. So starting off, I cast some glass eyes into a resin head and I'm almost done with that tutorial, and it will be a paid tutorial, but I'm almost done with it. It's all filmed and I've got all the notes down and stuff, so I've just got to put it together. So once I've cast the head and the feet pieces, I then go ahead and paint all the sections up. So for this one, I'm going to have a black beak with grey skin, and it's just pretty much the same as Ferrum, just so they match and have some similarities. And Ferrum was sort of a like a black currant kind of colour. Or like a mixed berry colour, and he also had grey skin, so that way these two match together. It's just two different colours in the feather area. So I'm just using an acrylic paint called Chromacryl. You can buy it here in Australia. I'm not sure if you can find it in America, but you'd be able to find any acrylic paint anywhere. And just before I paint any paint on resin, I will prime it first with a primer, just so that paint will actually stick to the resin, because resin can be a bit slippery sometimes. Now the paint that I'm using is called Neutral Grey by Chromacryl, and I like to just squeeze on a whole bunch of paint and just paint it around like that, and if I have too much I can just scrape it off and go on to the next piece. But this grey paint is a little bit opaque, so we'll require a couple of layers of paint on the resin, just so there's no streaking or anything, and it actually gets the full effect of the colour. So while it looks quite light, it dries quite dark, so that's something to keep in mind as well when you're painting any sort of paint. And also to keep in mind to make sure the first layer of paint is fully dry before you repaint, because it ends up just taking the first layer of paint off and you're just going around in a circle trying to cover any streaks. So here is what it looks like once the paint is dry, and you can see how much the paint has actually darkened, and also with the couple of layers of paint. So I'm going to go ahead and put in some more details, and I'm using a wash. It's a black wash, so it's just really watered down acrylic paint, just so the paint can run into any crevices and details, and it will bring out all of those details in between the eyes and just all over the face as well. And if you think your paint is too thick or too dark, you can wipe it off with just a cloth or a towel or anything, and that will wipe off majority of that paint, so you're left with a nice detailed paint job. Alright, same deal with the feet or the claws or whatever you want to call them. This is something I have sculpted as well, molded in silicone and then cast in resin. So I go ahead and paint all of the pieces with some black claws this time, and also the grey skin with that black wash, and using the same Chromacryl acrylic paints as well. I think painting the claws is like my favourite part, just because it's like satisfying when you can see all of the paint and the white disappear underneath the paint. It's, I don't know, weird thing. Alright, same deal with the grey, just splodge it on and move it around, and I find using a smaller paintbrush to do this is a little bit better, just because I can get in between all of the details, especially on these. There's a whole lot of little scales and little details on the underside of the claws, and when I use a smaller brush I find it gets into the details a bit better, rather than using a big brush, but that's just me. I mean, you can water down the paint a little bit and it will run into the cracks as well, so it's whatever you prefer. And after the couple of layers of paint, we can go ahead and add that black wash, and I just like to dab it in a little bit of black paint and then into the water, and that way you can sort of move it around on the piece and add some more water if you like, and then dab it off if you like as well. Moving on to the faux fur that I'll be using. So I managed to snap up this electric blue faux fur, and it's actually really nice fur, and it's really thick and it's got a nice colour to it and a nice sheen to it as well. So I'll definitely try and get some more colours in this faux fur as well. I just really like using it. So you can see I've drawn out all my patterns. It's only a 2-part pattern for my Phoenix dolls, and I'm going to cut it out with a small pair of sharp scissors, which I prefer to use over a knife just because you can control it better and it cuts the backing of the faux fur much better than a knife as well. Once I have those pieces cut out, I'll pin it together and sew it up on a sewing machine, leaving the both ends open so I can flip it the right way around. And I prefer to use a sewing machine because I find it a lot stronger and it is a lot quicker to sew up a piece as well. I also really don't like hand sewing, but you will have to do some hand sewing when you work with fabrics anyway, so yeah. And if you're struggling to work out some patterns for your body, just have a look at plushie patterns and have a look at some animal anatomy, and that will help you a lot to work out way the body is structured. So here's what we have so far when we've flipped it the right way around. You can see the basic shape of a bird, and I'll go ahead and add some wings and stuff like that. For some reason I don't have that footage somewhere, it's kind of gone missing, but I have plenty of other Phoenix videos that you can check out, some of the process there too, but I thought I'd share this anyway just because it's part of the process and another one of my dolls. So this is what we have so far, even though I don't have much of the footage left. But yeah, I've just basically have a wireframe inside of the doll and added some ethically sourced feathers and just added some detail to the head with the faux fur as well. Alright, and that is it for me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. If you have any video requests, you can leave it in the comments down below. You can also check me out on Instagram and Facebook at Creatures of Nat, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!